Today on Suncoast View, school vouchers are back in the state spotlight, but for a school safety reason. We'll discuss.
The envelope, please. Nominations are out for this year's Oscars. Our movie guy is in to talk winners and losers.
And acclaimed jazz performers from all over the world are headed to Sarasota for the upcoming Jazz Festival. Today we'll hear from a renowned Brazilian guitarist. All that and more right now on Suncoast View. Welcome to Suncoast View, and welcome back to Edible Sarasota's Tracy Freeman.
Thank you.
Great to have you with us.
Great to see you guys.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. Thank you. So do you.
Thank you.
All cocktailed up. You two would make quite a dapper couple, Joey and
We
Tracy
have a
here.
big weekend ahead.
Yes, we do.
We do. We are very
really?
excited about this weekend. Quick mention that Forks and Corks is coming up this weekend. Tracy, how with Edible do you even keep up with all the dinners, the big event on Sunday? Rest up, girl.
Rest up and hit that treadmill. And I have not been hitting that treadmill.
Yes, I think that is a problem I would definitely have with your job, because there's all sorts of good foods and wines, and it's your job to know about them.
Yeah, and it's that time of year.
It is that time of year.
No, it's January. We're not. It's not that time of year.
Every
It's
weekend.
that time of year.
Yeah, every single
We're
weekend.
in full season. How do you do it though? How do you watch your figure and still eat? Try all these things.
It's a struggle, and it's obviously it's not quite working lately.
Yes,
I
it
do.
is.
I have a Hungarian lady that I do boot camp with, and she kind of keeps things in check. And I'm going to have to defriend her on Facebook after my trip to Nashville.
Yes, so Edible Communities, because we know Edible Sarasota, of course, for the great publications that they provide us right here on the Suncoast. Here's a preview of the winter issue. But you are also part of a community that recently got together in Nashville. Tell everybody that Edible is everywhere.
Edibles everywhere, and in Canada there are 101 edibles. Now 3 in Canada, the rest in the U.S. What an awesome group of people. We had so much fun sharing ideas, learning what we're going to do with print as digital kind of takes over, and yeah, it was wonderful. And we ate and drank and had a great
fun.
time.
That's
How
nice
fun.
that you don't have to be a silo and just work on your own, that you can bounce ideas off of other magazine owners and
Yes.
It is great, and I talked about this little show that I do from time to time, the
good.
Suncoast View.
Well, if any of them show up in town, invite them
Yeah.
on. We'd
Thank
love to
you.
meet them. And a good reminder for everybody, when you travel, find the Edible where you are, because you know it's going to be the latest and greatest of the local foods, wines, you know, just anything that is produced locally. And
Thank
that's
you.
important to all of us. So
Thanks.
we're glad you're with us. Let's see who's in the kitchen today. Speaking of big weekends on the way, Michael Klauber from Michael's on East here to talk about Forks and Corks as well.
Well, you're going to get a sneak peek at the 2 best of show wines for the whole Forks and Corks weekend. And we've got a couple of great dishes to go with that. But we've got a fabulous weekend. We couldn't be more excited. Forks and Corks is here.
All right, we
that's
couldn't be more
wonderful.
excited that you are here to help us learn about it. And of course, the wine dinners begin January 26th, and the big event January 28th with the grand tasting. You can find out about everything going on by going to eatlikealocal.com. Forks and Corks, such a great way to really kind of incorporate our phenomenal local chefs with absolutely world-renowned wines.
Yes, and people that are sad that they missed out, that they couldn't get a ticket for the grand tasting, there's still so many other things you can do leading up to it.
Yes, and I'm looking forward to Michael telling us about some of the wine tastings you can do locally even, including at Michael's on East, so that you can learn more about everybody who's here. So lots of great things to celebrate. Joey, I know your voice is struggling.
Yes.
We're glad you're with
I
us.
feel better, I just don't sound better, so I did bring this just in case. So if I...
Are you always going to agree? This will be a
well,
lovely show.
What's on the other side?
I can write pretty fast.
Okay. And for those of you who don't realize this, when Joey is on the floor giving us directions, this is how we get it. He scribbles and holds up furious
Yes.
signs.
Because he's always here. If he's not at the seat, he's out
And it
there.
doesn't always say I agree.
No, it doesn't.
But,
No, it usually says be quiet or move on.
Yeah, it says rap to me.
But
Rap,
it's been
rap,
good,
rap.
actually. I don't want to talk about my sickness a lot, but having laryngitis is really good for a marriage. I recommend it once a year, because I've actually just had to, when you can't contribute, you sit and listen. And I've heard so many things that I never would have heard before.
Actually a really nice take.
So he's much smarter than you thought.
I am
Yes.
sure my husband is wishing me laryngitis.
So I will come through your house and play with your silverware if you want to catch laryngitis.
No, please don't. Right. It is time for our first hot topic. And a Bradenton senator wants to make sure kids who get bullied at school don't have to stay there. A Senate panel voted for a bill to allow students who are victims of bullying, physical attacks, and other types of violence to move to a different public school or receive a private school voucher. Bradenton's Bill Galvano sponsors this state bill, and he said it is really good to give parents options in these cases. Democrats voted against it due to the use of school vouchers. What do you think about this?
Well, I went through this. When we moved from Atlanta to Pittsburgh, my son was bullied horribly because of his Southern accent. He was beaten up at school by groups of people.
So
it was just awful. And I went to the principal and he said, that just happens. You should have seen what happened to the Jewish kid. And that's all they had to say about that. I should have taken him out of that school. I really regret that. And that was a long time ago, but I still feel bad about it.
Well, we know it happens.
It's hard. I mean, as a kid, I feel like, you know, in a perfect world, you could go to school and concentrate on your work, and that's what you have to do. And I was bullied all through high school, and it was one of the things that contributed to me actually leaving high school early. And then I went back and got my GED. And yes, in hindsight, I'm like, you should have been tougher. You should have stood up to those kids. You shouldn't have potentially wrecked your education. But you don't know that as a kid, you know, you don't have the awareness that you do now.
Right.
And we moved to Los Angeles after that, and my son did fabulously
Right.
there.
Sometimes it's just the environment. Tracy, would you move a child for bullying?
I think it would depend on the severity.
Right.
You know, I agree. You know, I tough it out. But,
Right.
you know, if it's too much, then yeah, I think
And
it's
I know
time to make a
school
change.
vouchers are a big issue. I don't want to see bullying become a political issue. I mean,
No.
there's reasons why school vouchers are good and bad, and we don't even need to get into it. But I
Right.
think bullying is a different issue. So that I hope that in the state government, they're not going to use the voucher situation as a reason to not consider bullying.
Or
Yeah.
that parents would use it just for a way to economically save money
That's
and put their
true.
kids in a
Good
private
point.
school.
Yeah, and that would obviously just be reproachable if
Yes,
that
yes.
occurs. So hopefully we can find a way to make it work out. So you remember the big Oscar fiasco last year when the wrong envelope led to the wrong winner being read of Best Picture. Well, obviously PricewaterhouseCoopers making major changes to how their winning envelopes will be delivered this year. 3 people will now sit backstage, each with a completely different set of envelopes, each winner memorized and each trained how to respond if another mix-up happens again. Most importantly, no cell phones allowed to prevent distraction. Can you really ever prevent human error? I mean, I know you can try everything you can.
But it sounds like they were taking pictures of the stars, and they were taking pictures of themselves with the stars. Grab the
Absolutely.
envelope, print out, whoops.
Nobody looked.
And if you're concentrating and focusing, you're less likely to make that mistake.
I hope so. I mean, there's a part of me that feels like you got one job, people. Okay, like if you give me that job, I will be amazing at it because that's all you have to do.
Yeah.
So, but you know, it happened more than once. Remember, Elizabeth Taylor said Gladiator a few years
That's right.
before. So it's obviously a potential problem.
The fact that somebody has to memorize the entire list, 3 people have to, that to me is comical.
That's harder, I think.
Right.
right.
Now you're risking human memory versus
right.
just focusing and doing your
Yeah,
job.
just give them this actual 3 words or whatever, and that's all they've got, those words.
And I don't even think they drink at the Oscars.
Probably not
I don't think
backstage.
so.
I
The
hope
Grammys
not.
are the only one you're allowed to drink
Yeah,
at.
yeah.
So they were sober.
Right. You can't use that as an excuse. You had one job. Well, speaking of movies, is it time for a new Bond? James Bond, or maybe we should say Jane Bond. So actor Idris Elba, once rumored to be a possible Bond, says it's time to mix things up. Do something different with this series. Give it a 21st century overhaul with a female, even a black female. Daniel Craig has been Bond for 12 years with mediocre box office success. He has committed to one more film. Would you try a woman?
Yeah, I would. I loved Wonder Woman, and so I can see her dressed beautifully, great looking, and really
How do you
tough.
play that in? Is it a sister? Is it a girlfriend?
I like
Is
the
it
idea of creating a new character because I would love to see a woman in a character like that. But I don't like the idea of a woman playing Bond.
Yeah.
You know, the same way I wouldn't want a man to be Wonder Man.
Right.
You know? Like, explore what you can within that character,
Right.
but go ahead, create more opportunities
Because
for women.
this would be a position where you could lose your job if you were James Bond, and somebody else could get your job, like a woman.
Are we just over the concept? I mean,
Well, I'm sick of
be.
looking at him.
Or adapt it to fit with the times. I mean, our producer Matt had a good point before the show that this might be a way to kind of trick people who wouldn't buy a ticket to see a woman, you know, which I disagree with, but that you could trick people by having a woman play the role. So it's actually a way to draw more people in to accept a woman in that character. Because let's face it, there are still people that wouldn't go see the movie.
I think they're going to see pictures of her as a woman before they go in. I don't think it's going to be a shock.
Does that mean that there will be Bond boys?
That's what I was just thinking. What do you do about the Bond girls?
Yeah.
So the Bond girl marries a Bond boy and they're Bond babies?
Well, like James Bond always had a love interest, so would a female James Bond have like men in the square bikinis? Is that what?
Sounds good to
Have
me.
I taken this topic?
I'm all right with it. Where's that sign?
He agrees. By the way, you mentioned producer Matt. He is also our movie guy. He's going to be in a little bit later because we are going to talk about this year's Oscar nominations and a few surprises out there. So I'm anxious to hear what he has to say. So as parents, we know it takes a lot of time to raise a child. But a worldwide study of the 11 richest countries, which includes the U.S., says mothers spend nearly twice as much time with our children now than moms did 50 years ago in 1965. Furthermore, college-educated mothers spend more time than those without a university education. Interesting numbers, since think about that more women work now than they did 50 years ago, yet we spend more hands-on time. Well, don't worry, dad time has increased as well. Thoughts about that?
You know, my mom used to say, now go outside and play.
Yep.
We used to hear that a lot. And I don't hear my daughter ever say that because you just don't do that today. So she does spend amazing amount of time every minute she's off.
Tracy, how's that time spent? I know the answer.
Yeah, no, I think it's the guilt that you don't have. The time
Yep.
away is, you know, it's so important when you are finally with them.
Right.
And I do. I love that time.
And I blame organized sports.
That time.
I mean, I know you spent a lot of time in the car. I mean, I feel like, which doesn't sound like good time, but it is good time.
People say what they really think.
Absolutely.
And you hear what the kids are really thinking about. It sort of breaks down barriers.
My husband thinks I'm crazy, but sometimes he'll say like, well, I'll take him to football. I'm like, oh, no, no, no. The 10 minutes there and back, I can go over anything I need to go because you're trapped. You can't get out. And if I'm quiet and just let conversation develop and evolve, you learn and you hear. Whereas if it's forced at other times, how was your day? You get you know,
Right.
but so I like that time. But I thought it was just so interesting to me that 50 years ago, I probably wouldn't have been at work every day.
Right.
But would I really
I
have
was.
had that time?
All of my friends were 50 years ago. Women were working full-time 50 years
Which
ago.
we love about you.
Yeah, but I did. I would drive home every day and walk my son, take him on a walk, and then go back to work. Finally, he said, Mom, could I just play with the other kids? Do you have
Was
to
it
come
guilt?
home every day? It was guilt.
It was
Yes,
guilt.
yes.
Guilt is hard. I mean, I think it can be a positive and a negative for a mom because it does make us do things we probably don't feel like doing. And it's time.
It makes us better mothers.
That's right.
And we look back and we're proud.
All right, I like that theory. So fights over what food can be shared is a big issue if you're in a shared household. Maybe it's your siblings, maybe it's your roommates, maybe it's your spouse. Apparently, it gets really heated over ice cream. Ben & Jerry's has a solution. It is designed, and I love the name, Euphoria-Lock, because we all know Ben & Jerry's ice cream is euphoria. So this is how you keep the lid tight on your pint of ice cream, and you keep suspicious spoons out of it. Some also say this works as a weight loss tool for those without willpower. You can find this. This is not a joke. It exists on the Ben & Jerry's website and also on Amazon. We had a fight over ice cream in my house last night.
Oh, really?
I guess it's one of those things. Well, think about it. If you go in and you dig in, nobody can really tell because there's no mark of where it was.
You smooth over
You
the
smooth
top.
over the top, and then it gets
That's how
lowered.
you do it.
Disappears.
I grew up with 3 older brothers, and we needed this for ice cream. We needed it for cereal boxes. We needed
Yeah.
it for potato chips. We were always into
Well,
each
I
other's
need
food.
this because things that I don't want to eat, but I buy, I put in my trunk downstairs, and I'm not going to go downstairs to get them. But I couldn't put ice cream in my trunk, so this will be a great breakthrough.
Give someone else the combination, then you have to text them to ask for it.
Yes, I'll tell you guys.
Is food an issue in your house with
Oh
the
yeah,
kids?
we're addicted to the Jenny ice cream at Lucky's.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's $10 for the little one. So yeah, there's ice cream wars.
All right, get a lock. That'll solve the problem.
$10.
We call it survival of the fittest in our house. Whoever gets there gets it. We have our happy hour forecast, and when we come back, we're going to check out the new trends in interior design.
Good afternoon. I'm Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan with your first alert weather forecast. We have a first alert going on right now with some dense fog around the area right along the coast from Tampa Bay southward to Inglewood. A dense fog advisory is in effect as a result of the cold front that hasn't really worked its way through yet and cleared our skies out, but we are seeing this dense fog moving onshore, limiting visibilities down to less than a quarter of a mile, and it looks like that will continue at least for the next couple of hours, and then things should start to clear out. The rain is gone. That's down to our south now, so don't expect any showers. There's the area that is under that dense fog advisory. I mentioned near Pinellas County, southward all the way down to near Inglewood. That's in effect until 5. That may be extended now because fog's really not breaking up all that much. At the airport, we have low clouds and fog, 71 in the temperature, and winds out of the northwest at 10. The pressure 30.03 inches. Current temps still very warm in places like Miami and Orlando in the low 80s there. A little bit cooler over the panhandle where some of that cooler air has moved in. More on your weather coming up at 5. See you then.
We all love the look of a professionally decorated home, but there are also some tips and some tricks we can use to get that professional look in our own homes. And there is a great place to find that. Holly Dennis from Holly Dennis Interiors is here with us from some of this year's top trends. We are so glad to have you. We want to pick your brain, Holly. Okay. We want some ideas. Okay, what's the #1 trend this year?
The #1 trend that I'm seeing coming out of High Point Furniture Market from spring and fall is that the scale of furniture is being reduced. So we're not seeing any of that overstuffed furniture anymore. Furniture is getting pared down. We're seeing thin lines in the details of the furniture. So it might be, you know, a thin arm on the sofa and chair. It could be a thin structure on a lamp. It could be thin lines on a cocktail structure, cocktail table, and which is great because, you know, so long we had these huge overstuffed pieces of furniture that didn't necessarily fit in everybody's spaces. I live in a 1956 house and all of my furniture is vintage because that's how the houses were designed then, and so it fits perfectly.
And this makes sense, especially in Sarasota, because we have so much of that mid-century
Correct.
modernism. This fits right in.
I'm very happy
Yes,
about this.
yes. Yeah, but does that mean we sell our couch, or do we just replace a lamp?
Yes, of course, and call me.
I get it. I'd like
Okay,
to.
trend #2.
We're seeing so much element of metallic, and then also things that have a great deal of texture to them. So like in this fabric, for instance, you can see it has a little metallic element
Yes.
in there.
Yeah,
hold that up
A
so
little,
so I can
has a
see.
little shimmer, a
No,
little
very
element
cool.
of metal in there.
What would this be for?
You could use that on a pillow, you could use it on a chair. It's an upholstery fabric, so you know, the sky's the limit on how you wanted to use that. I wouldn't use it on a drapery, it might be too heavy for a drapery. This could be, however, could be used on drapery, and it has just a little bit of a little tiny bit of a sparkle in there.
Yes.
And then these tiles, these are aluminum.
Those are cool.
Aluminum,
And
that's why they
it's
sparkle.
yeah, it's actual aluminum. It's brushed aluminum, and it's got these very sort of fractured shapes to them.
Yes.
Gorgeous for like a powder room.
Oh, and the way it catches the light is beautiful.
Yes, look
focal
at that
wall.
sparkle. Wow.
If you're not that daring, this is a grass cloth wall covering that has a little bit of a foil background, so you get a hint of that metallic element without being too over the top.
And wall coverings back in, we don't have to just paint
cov-
anymore?
Wall coverings are back in. I think people are starting to increase their budgets for rooms such as powder rooms, and that's a room that you can really create a showstopper. You know, this textured wall covering would be gorgeous in a powder bath.
Oh, it is textured. Yes, you
or
can
on a
feel
focal
that.
wall in a master bathroom or
Right.
a master bedroom. This is a wall covering that looks like wood.
Oh, it does.
So it gives you that essence of texture without actually being a texture.
That's very cool.
And you want to
Oh, and the
feel
way
of
it
it.
fits
looks-
into a room is beautiful.
Correct, and then, you know, you could use this backsplash, you know, on a kitchen or in a bathroom or in a shower, and it has a 3D texture to
Oh
it.
yeah, and you can see it right there in that photo.
Yes,
That's
so it's
beautiful.
that
very
does look like
sculptural.
texture, yes. And so the next one is global fusion. What does that mean?
We're seeing a lot of prints and fabrics and woven materials as well that have a hint of tribal feel to them, and almost a rustication. This fabric has a great deal of texture to it, but it has an essence of being hand woven. These look like they were handmade in a tribal village.
Oh, yeah.
These batik prints also have that global feeling.
Is that
And
wall covering or?
these are upholstery fabrics, so this would
Upholstery.
go on a pillow,
Yes.
on a sofa. So if you don't want to change your entire house, you can, you know, if you have a neutral base, you can just throw some new pillows on your sofa,
great
and
idea.
automatically you're current.
And color. What color should those pillows be that we throw?
Whatever color you like, however, the color of the year, and we're getting this from the Pantone folks. Every year they meet in a European city, and they have a committee, and they pontificate over a color, and so this year they've designated ultraviolet to be the color of the year.
Which is not an easy color to work into homes.
You know, they never give us an easy color to work with. But the thing is, though, is what you can do is if you have a neutral base, like there's a gray element in here, and so if you have a gray sofa or a beige sofa, you can throw some ultraviolet pillows on there, and some of those fabrics are just drop dead gorgeous.
Those are pretty.
It's a cool color.
And then you can add an essence of, in your accessories, it doesn't have to look like Barney's Playroom. It can just
You don't need a wall.
Right, it can just be a nod to the color, but it does give us a fun way to decorate over the course of the year.
And of course the show house is open now.
It is open now. It opened this past Sunday, and it's open, I think, through February 18th. And
Tell us how it works.
Yeah, every room is done by a different decorator.
Exactly. Every room is done by a different local designer, and kind of showcasing our talents. And then the charity is the Boys and Girls Club of Sarasota.
That's great.
Oh, it's a great way to get tips. I'm on my way there. Just to get off the air. This is the 23rd Jewels by the Bay, and it is through February 18th. It benefits the Boys and Girls Club, and you'll get so many great ideas. And next, we've got all that jazz.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate, and it's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
The classic film Singing in the Rain is coming to the Players Center in a live stage show opening January 17th. All the dances and all the songs you've come to know and love, all a part of our Wild Broadway series. Get your tickets now for this limited run by calling the Players at 365-2494 or visit us online at theplayers.org. You too can be singing in the rain.
I'm Deshauna Barber. In 2016, I was proud to win the title of Miss USA. What makes me just as proud is my service in the U.S. military. In the service, a soldier gains skills and learns values like discipline and leadership. That makes them an asset to any business that hires them. If you're an employer, on behalf of Coalition to Salute America's Heroes, remember to hire smart and bet on a vet. Visit saluteheroes.org or call this number to learn more.
For more than 100 years, American Humane Association has been teaching kids to be kind to animals. Those in our homes, on the farms, on the silver screen, and wildlife conservation, caring for the world's vanishing creatures. But we can't do it alone. Visit kindness100.org to find ways to teach kids how they can make a more caring, compassionate, and humane world for all of us.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
The theme of the upcoming Sarasota Jazz Festival is a world of jazz. It will feature 14 musicians from 7 different countries. One of the world-renowned Brazilian guitarists is with us in our studio today. Here is Diego Figueiredo in today's Sounds of the Suncoast. Take it away. You've got to hear more from that guy. And we want to welcome Ed Linehan. You are the executive director of the Sarasota Jazz Festival. What a great job you've got.
Well, it's, you know, with people like him, you want to spend more time with him and less time with me. I think
Well, tell us some of the overview of the festival coming
Well,
up
this
in
is our
March.
38th annual festival, and we couldn't be more excited to have Diego and 13 other fabulous performers from, as you said, 7 different countries, and they were assembled by the world's greatest living clarinetist, Ken Poplawski. And so they'll be performing in 4 concerts, plus we have 2 special events over the 4-day festival. The first event, which is actually the kickoff event, we will have is our trolley pub crawl.
Oh, this sounds like so much fun.
Oh, it really is, and it's extremely popular. We always sell out. And tickets are available now.
And you can go to the website and find out more.
That's
because
right.
these tickets are going fast. It's the 38th annual Sarasota Jazz Festival, March 7th through the 10th. We're going to find out about the Oscar nominations next, but first, Diego, would you play us out, please?
It's time to take a road trip. Alabama's got 100 road trips, and some of the best are music to your ears, like the Alabama Music Hall of Fame. Or head over to Muscle Shoals and Fame Studios. Are you a star yet?
My mama thinks so.
Or, if that's your stomach I hear grumbling, our barbecue is almost a religious experience. Food good here? Best in the country. Alabama's got 100 road trips.
Which one you gonna take?
Stay connected to your clients and new customers using ABC7 Digital Media Services. Our team of professionals provide a wide array of digital services to help you get the most out of your website. We specialize in building and helping you maintain the most effective digital solutions for your business. It's vital that your online presence stands out, so our experts will equip you with the best resources available. Trust ABC7 Digital Media Services to give you the right tools to grow your business.
I am the resident district manager on the FAU campus for Chartwell. Whenever I see Haley, I do not see a person with a disability. I see a person with extraordinary abilities. Haley is always smiling. She's always on time. She gives fantastic customer service and is always focused on any job that she's given.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Don't allow your weight to threaten your health or control your future. Excess weight or obesity can cause emotional and physical health risks. But you can take control. The Your Weight Matters campaign offers free resources and tips to help you measure and understand your weight. Take the Your Weight Matters Challenge. The free toolkit prepares you to speak with a healthcare provider about your weight. Your weight does matter. Take the challenge and take control today.
We've all heard how military veterans adjusting to the civilian world may have certain issues.
30. 78.
If only everyone had this issue. No matter what challenge they face, Easter Seals is here for America's veterans.
When it comes to drinking, what do you think moderation is? The U.S. Dietary Guidelines define moderation as up to 1 drink a day for women and up to 2 drinks a day for men. So what's a drink? The guidelines say a drink equals 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, or a cocktail with 1.5 ounces of distilled spirits. Each contains the same amount of alcohol. Like to learn more? Visit drinkinmoderation.org.
Welcome back to Suncoast View. We're going to check back in with Michael Klauber from Michael's on East. And Michael, Forks and Corks Weekend, kind of something for everyone.
Well, you know, the 2 big events are already filled, the master classes and the grand tasting, but there are lots of other things going on during the weekend. There are pop-up retail tastings on Saturday at like Vino Loco down in Englewood, the Butcher Block, Michael's Wine Cellar, we've got 20 winemakers in the afternoon on Saturday from 3 to 5. So great chances to experience some of those winemakers. And then winemaker lunches and dinners. Euphemia Hay does great lunches. Element downtown, the new steakhouse, Blue Marlin, Salute, Beach House. All of these restaurants still have dinners open that you can participate in.
All right, well, this is the weekend to be out and about, so something to look forward to. So the countdown is on to this year's Academy Awards. Oscar nominations were released this morning. So our movie guy and Suncoast View producer, Matthew Lydell, is in to kind of give us the lowdown on some people who got snubbed, maybe, and some people who did really well. Some films racking up the list.
Yeah, so we got very close to another record, or tying with the record of 14 nominations, and but we didn't quite get there. I think 14 nominations is Titanic and La La Land, and I think one other movie in the past.
So what got 14 nominations this year?
So 13 nominations went to Shape of Water.
Ah, that's the one you said was good.
It's really good. That is my favorite movie of last year.
It sounds weird on paper.
And it is.
Okay.
It's not any
okay,
less
right?
weird. Yeah. It's but what's just so weird is it doesn't immediately strike me that's something that everyone's gonna love, or that even that everyone in the Academy was gonna love to begin with. Because you look at the list, Shape of Water has 13 nominations. We have Dunkirk, which seems a little more in line with 8, and then 3 Billboards, which has been getting a lot of attention, has 7 nominations. But when you think about Shape of Water, has a lot of nominations for art direction, for editing, for original screenplay, and things like that.
And you say it's weird. Give us a little synopsis of the story and what makes it a little different.
I guess it's the best way to describe it is like an adult-oriented Beauty and the Beast. Sally Hawkins plays a janitor who works in a government facility and discovers that they are housing this sort of man-fish creature in there.
So there's a fantasy element.
There's a fantasy element to
it. From the 80s.
A bit, yeah, and it looks a lot like that. And it's sort of a romance movie. It also has like elements of like Cold War era kind of espionage stuff going on.
Wow. So she falls in love with the monster
She
being
does.
hidden in the building.
Yes, she does.
Okay, so leading nominations we've been through. Let's go through the big important categories. Best Actor?
Best, well, we're going to start with Best Actress,
first,
yeah. Okay. Because I feel like this is not only one of the more interesting ones, I think it's more interesting than Best Actor, but it also has, I think it's pretty much locked in, is Frances McDormand for 3 Billboards. She's really good in this movie. I think she's one of the best parts about this movie, and she's been sweeping everywhere, taking awards for this. So I just can't imagine it being anyone besides her. There are a couple other options in terms of, there is Sally Hawkins from Shape of Water, which specifically for her, she plays a mute in the movie. So all of her—
That's gotta be hard.
So her whole performance is through sign language or just through facial expression.
That's
and it's not ridiculous or it's not goofy or anything. It's very genuine and it's really stunning the way she does it. There's also Meryl Streep in The Post, which I just saw over the weekend. She's great.
I know.
Yeah, which is tough. And then Saoirse Ronan from Lady Bird, who's the lead in that.
It's a big list.
And sometimes the underdog can come up and surprise you.
Yeah, and because Saoirse Ronan won for Best Actress in a Comedy Musical at the Golden Globes, but then Frances McDormand got for Best Drama.
And it's not separated.
And it's
here at
not
the Academy.
separated here in the Academy Awards.
Okay.
So that kind of creates an issue there.
Wow.
And then for actor, I feel like it's a little less interesting in terms of great performances. But I think there's one that is pretty much a lock as well, and it's Gary Oldman for Darkest Hour, where he plays Winston Churchill. I also saw this over the weekend, and I think the movie itself is pretty average in terms of a biopic. Not a ton of surprises, except for him. I think he's great in it. I think he's one of the standouts of the movie for certain. And
He
just
doesn't
kind of
even
thinking,
look like himself.
yeah, and you know what? He's always talked about in terms of, you know, sinking into his role and maybe to some ridiculous extents that people talk about him. And when I first saw how like different he looked, it was like, is he going to win just because he looks different? But no, he's really good in it, on top of great makeup and, you know, great costume design and all of that.
Who is he up against?
He is up against Daniel Day-Lewis in Phantom Thread.
I thought he would win.
So the thing is, this is supposedly his last performance in this movie, and I have not had a chance to see it because it's not playing anywhere nearby from what I can tell. Okay. But I kind of imagine the same way that Gary Oldman has never won before, and they kind of would be like, well, let's give it to him this time. Daniel Day-Lewis, this is his, supposed last chance to kind of get at this. And then I have not seen Call Me By Your Name yet, but I know Timothée Chalamet, I think it's pronounced, has been getting a lot of buzz for that, and that movie was incredibly well reviewed. So I need to get a chance to see that soon.
Okay.
And then we go into director, which I think is another win for Shape of Water, because Guillermo del Toro won at the Golden Globes for Best Director, and this feels like a long time coming for him. He has sort of been, I don't want to say cult director because he's had big hits, but maybe he hasn't gotten the mainstream recognition amongst people outside of the movie industry that he frankly deserves.
You mentioned loving his work in the past.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of his, and I was interested to see how this was going to turn out, and the fact that this is leading the nominations is like completely blowing me away.
Tell us the two people that he's up against.
The two people he's up against, I think Greta Gerwig has a big chance for Lady Bird.
Director.
I think so, yeah.
Lady.
I think she has a big chance because of that, but also because considering how that movie doesn't have, a lot of crazy special effects, it doesn't have like this kind of monster thing like Shape of Water might have, it doesn't have like the war scenes that Dunkirk may have, which I also think Nolan has a chance. But I think it's kind of time to recognize that the best movie and the best director doesn't have to be the flashiest. She really trims that movie down, and she wrote and directed it on top of that. And that is just like a quick 90-minute, just like everything about it is just like, yep, that's perfect, that's perfect. So I think she should be recognized absolutely for, pulling that off as well as she did.
All right, and take us through Best Picture quickly.
I think at this rate, Shape of Water is Best Picture. The only thing that could take it away from it is Three Billboards for sure, which they've both been getting attention. Three Billboards won Best Ensemble at the Screen Actors Guild on Sunday night, whereas I think Shape of Water also won Best Picture at like the Producers Guild the same night. So those are like kind of pitted against each other. I think Lady Bird, The Post, and Dunkirk are the other options.
A lot of the same titles we're hearing over and over again.
All right, and we're hoping for a good, exciting show to keep us all entertained. Thank you, Matthew. Great to hear your movie opinions. And of course, we are anxiously awaiting the Academy Awards. They will be right here on ABC7. They are coming up a little later this year because of the Winter Olympics. Sunday, March 4th, and that broadcast starts at 8 p.m. We'll talk more about it as we get closer. All right, coming up next, we've got some good news from Goodwill. Stay with us.
Download the all-new ABC7 First Alert weather app now.
I heard about the Dotoli Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Dotoli Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was and some additional cancers that were not found during the biopsy. I would recommend the Dotoli Cancer Center. As a group of human beings, they are unbelievably great.
From our studios on Florida's Suncoast, this is an ABC7 News Update.
Hello, I'm Scott Dennis. Here's what's coming up at 5 o'clock. More construction may be coming to Venice in the near future. Why the city wants to have the project complete the road work by this time next year. And prosecutors seeking the death penalty for the accused Seminole Heights serial killer. We'll hear how the victims' families feel about that decision. Let's get a check on our weather now with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob?
Thanks, Scott. Right now, some clouds around, low clouds, too, right near the coast. In fact, fog advisory in effect for the entire west coast of Florida from Pinellas County southward. The rain really is down to our south. That's pretty much over, that story. But the story now is the visibility, and it's reduced down to a quarter mile or less in some places from Tampa Bay southward through Manatee County waters and then down south near Inglewood. That's in effect until 5. That may be extended as that fog really hasn't broken up all that much. Details in our weather coming up in a few minutes. Back to you.
Check out mysuncoast.com/dining, your guide to the foodie lifestyle.
There was this big bruise on my friend's face. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to think her own nephew could have hit her.
I didn't want to see it. My mother's bank account was emptied, and a caregiver had taken control of it.
I didn't want to see it. My father's refrigerator. There was hardly anything in it. That's unusual for him.
It's tough to see that a senior citizen is being abused, physically, emotionally, sexually, or financially. Elder abuse is a crime.
So see the signs, stop the crimes.
Tonight on ABC 7 News at 7.
We're not paid enough, but the idea that we will just lay down and accept whatever the board decides to give us is not who we are.
Sarasota County teachers protesting their pay. The district says no. Then why is the superintendent getting a bonus? I'm Alan Cohn. Class is in session at the Trapezoid.
Tonight on ABC 7 News at 7. Your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Every child follows a path in life. For many, that path will lead them to a door that gives them a place to grow, to learn, to belong, a place to forge their future. Because while many doors open, these doors transform. They did for us. Support your local Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
Goodwill Minnesota's Veteran Services Program is designed to help veterans in need get back on their feet. Well, there's nothing better than sharing a success story. Here with today's good news from Goodwill is Veronica Brandon Miller and veteran Jason Brown. Welcome to both of you. Thanks for being here. Veronica, tell us, how did Goodwill get involved with Jason? How did you meet?
So as you know, Goodwill, and maybe you don't know, is one of the largest homeless veteran integration programs in the state. So we have a very large program that helps veterans get back on their feet. And it just so happened that we were introduced to Jason, so he can tell you the story.
Jason, were you at a point in life where you needed a little help?
I was. I came home from the military. I had post-traumatic stress disorder, which developed into substance dependency, which led to my condition of being homeless.
And sadly, that does happen with veterans more often than we probably even realize or want to admit. So what type of services does Goodwill have that can step in and help someone like Jason?
So we have various things. We're definitely about employment, but a lot of veterans, almost 20%, aren't ready to go right into employment. So that's why we provide different services, and we partner with 330 other organizations providing counseling, resume writing, mock interviewing, even learning trades and getting certification in various things. So when Jason came to us, his immediate need was housing, and that's where we helped.
And obviously this has evolved and developed into much more. Jason, tell us, you are now literally in a race for a better life. Tell us about the race aspect of this.
I am, actually. I started running last year, and no matter what happened throughout the course of the year, I continued to run. And now I'm fortunate that Minnesota Goodwill has chosen to sponsor me with William Robinson from Fit to Run. And now I'm actually running for my life and running for others.
And when will you be running?
I will be running in 13 days on February for 13.1 miles.
Oh, okay, and
for you.
that, I may get the name not exactly right, that is the Rock and Roll Half Marathon, right here in Sarasota, correct?
Sarasota Music Half, I believe.
There you go.
yes,
I knew it had
yes,
something to do with
And
music.
we
I'm not running.
And we saw that you got a pair of shoes and everything in that photo, so
That's
they
correct.
literally are helping you get to the race.
Yeah,
That's
Veronica,
right.
explain this. So Goodwill was able to sponsor Jason or some of your partner organizations.
So it was actually at Veterans Day, Will Robinson, who is a Goodwill ambassador, one of our volunteers, but also an attorney for Block Walters, heard his story and said, you know what? I have connections to Fit to Run. I'll sponsor it. I'll call Fit to Run, get his shoes, let's get him ready. And Children's World came in, said, I'll do the shirts. It takes a community, it takes a village.
It takes a village.
And it is. It's a wonderful opportunity because what we're showing is we just don't care about, okay, great, we're going to find you housing, we're going to get you a job, but we care about the person. And this is one of his achievements that he wants to take on, so we're there. We're there to help.
How does it help you with the rest of your life, Jason, when you know you're so good out there running?
Well, the discipline from the running applies to every respect of my life, everything that I do. Everything from staying sober to living a happy, fulfilling life to dietary concerns and even interaction with others. I'm a lot happier, easier person to be around.
And now he's giving back. So he's volunteering and helping veterans.
Good for you.
Absolutely.
What an amazing story.
How did you know that this was something that Jason was interested in? Had you expressed to them, or how did they know this was a goal?
I had worked closely with someone from the court system that had referred me to Goodwill, who is now with Goodwill, Chris Landis, and the continuity from that led to some possibilities here.
That's great.
I love the example of the team at Goodwill helping individuals who then give back to the team, and it truly is a village, and it's just a great example of how our community comes together and does great things for people. So congratulations to Jason. We will be cheering for you for the Music Marathon. That is a huge accomplishment. We're very, very impressed. And also, reminder that some great things are coming up at Goodwill as well. We want everyone to celebrate all that is good at Goodwill with the big gala. I bet you're so excited,
Mardi
Veronica.
Gras Gala, February 8th. It is the party of the year, and we can't thank Michael's on East enough because they have been the wonderful partner with this for now 14 years.
It is a fun event.
It is a great event, and of course it raises funds for a great organization for Goodwill Minnesota. You can get information about everything Goodwill has to offer, and of course find more about the gala by going to experiencegoodwill.org. Okay, next, keep those calendars out. We've got Tracy here, and she's going to tell us about another great craft beer event. Oh.
For the last decade, S&S Motorsports of Sarasota has built custom high-performance vehicles for demanding clients worldwide. They're now bringing their 50-plus years of combined build expertise to the parts business. SRQ Performance Parts is your one-stop shop for all your performance parts and accessories.
My name is Stephen Jaffe. The law firm's name is Farmer Jaffe. One of the beautiful things about Julius is he's always smiling, and it becomes infectious. The fact that Julius has a disability has absolutely nothing to do with the quality of work that he's done. Just a great person you want on your staff.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Letting my friends online know I was quitting kept me on track.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
I kept on trying, learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
No matter how many times it takes.
We did it. You can too.
For free help, visit cdc.gov/tips.
Join ABC7 at the all-new 2018 edition of Circus Sarasota. Ovation under the big top at Nathan Benderson Park behind the mall at UTC. Friday, February 9th through Sunday, March 4th. All opening weekend tickets are 20% off, courtesy of ABC7. To purchase your discount tickets, visit circusarts.org, the Circus Sarasota box office at the big top, or call 941-355-9805.
Meet Blue. Blue's not feeling well. The prescription? Generic medication. Blue wonders, do they really work as well as name brands? Yes, generics and name brand medications do work the same. Even though they may look different, generics have the same key ingredients. FDA approval is equally rigorous for generics to make sure they're as safe and effective as name brands. And Blue even saves some green, making him a little less, well, blue. Talk to your doctor about generics and visit fda.gov/generic drugs.
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help, and slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Army National Guard soldiers serve to give back to their country and their community. Their part-time commitment qualifies them for benefits such as health and life insurance, education benefits, and retirement and VA home loan benefits. Visit nationalguard.com to learn more.
Okay, we've been talking about Forks and Corks and all the great events here on the Suncoast, but I want you to look ahead to February because Tracy's got something involving craft beer. Tell us about Hop in the Fire. That's a great name.
It's a good one. We have 10 local chefs. The concept is cooking with smoke and fire.
Ooh.
And we're going to be pairing it with 4 different Calusa beers. So we're going to have 10 chefs, bonfire in the middle, and everyone's going to walk around and sample, and it's a competition. and the winner of the competition wins a big green egg. So
oh wow,
cool. The chefs are excited and they are really creative. I just saw the menu last night, and
well, and creative is all the different things that the Eat Like a Local group puts together and that Edible puts together. I mean, just that's a fun concept.
Yeah, it's out in the parking lot. It's going to be great.
All right, and is that located at Calusa?
At Calusa, it'll be on February 5th from 6:30 to 9:30, and there are just a handful of tickets left.
Oh, all right.
We better get
good to know. Yeah,
you better hop on it.
We're going to hop on it before we hop into fire. Now we're going to hop over to the kitchen to find out about forks and corks with Michael Klauber.
Keep up with the Suncoast. Watch your favorite ABC7 shows on your streaming device.
It's time to take a road trip.
Burn rubber for Birmingham, where you can feed your need for speed at Barber Motorsports Park and Museum. Now this gets my motor running. Meet Iron Men. Hey there, big guy. And make a date with your 9-iron. Feed the animals at the zoo and the birds. Then enjoy the award-winning restaurant scene. Alabama has a road trip with your name on it.
Which one you gonna take?
From our studios on Florida's Suncoast, this is an ABC7 News Update.
Hello, I'm Scott Dennis. Here's what's coming up at the top of the hour. Why one Manatee County Commissioner wants the director of a local youth center to step down. Taking a look at first alert traffic right now, the roads aren't looking too bad. The interstate looking clear. No crashes to report in the area, so good news at this point. Let's get a check on the weather again with Bob.
Well, this is Severe Weather Awareness Week, and today's topic is marine hazards. We have one right now. It's in effect. It is now a dense fog advisory for coastal locations and within a couple of miles of the coast as well, where the visibility has dropped below about a quarter of a mile. It'll stick around too, it looks like, at least this particular model indicating that, and then it should get out of here again, looks like throughout the day on Wednesday. So we'll see it sticking around here through the next couple of hours. It's been around in the Gulf of Mexico all day long, as you saw from that graphic, but we'll see that break up later on tonight. More on that at 5.
Watch Good Morning Suncoast on ABC7, weekdays starting at 5.
Thank you.
You got a king?
Go fish! In your face, in your face,
It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
My name is Luke Perry, and I am 1 million strong. I'm in the fight against colorectal cancer because I believe we can win it. Colon and rectal cancers are the second leading cause of cancer deaths among men and women in the U.S. Colon cancer is preventable. Know the risk factors and make sure to get screened. There are simple, take-home options available. Take control of your health. Screening for colon cancer isn't embarrassing. It can be life-saving. To find out more about your options, visit fightcrc.org.
So I kind of grew up all across the country. I come from 5 generations of military men. My dad is still active duty. My grandpa is retired Marines. I like going for runs with my dog. I love, taking her out to the dog beach over in Venice. There are so many things here to do on the Suncoast. My goal every day when I come into work at ABC7 is to tell your stories, give you that major local news and those details that you really care about. I'm Jacqueline Matter, and I'm here for you.
Want the latest weather and traffic conditions wherever you go? Introducing ABC7's revolutionary new First Alert weather app. With our state-of-the-art new weather app, you get up-to-the-minute weather alerts, interactive radar maps, current conditions, 10-day forecasts, real-time traffic maps, and weather video from ABC7, all at your fingertips. And it's free. Just search Suncoast WX in the App Store and download onto all your devices today. Sponsored by Mr. Sparky.
Selfless service is the principle that guides Army National Guard soldiers to be ready whenever disaster strikes. They have a stake in the well-being of the neighborhoods where they live and work. They train part-time to be ready to serve at all times. Selfless service. It's what inspires the men and women of the Army National Guard to be part of something greater than themselves. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more.
Coming up Wednesday at 4 on Suncoast View. If you don't vote, you can't complain. We will sit down with the Sarasota County Election Supervisor to learn more about the February special election. It's Workout Wednesday. We're going to get to the beat and give Body Pump a try. Plus the best home values in Suncoast for sale. And Chef Paul Madison previews a wine dinner for Forks and Corks weekend in the kitchen.
And welcome back. We're here with Michael Clobber from Michael's on East. And he is here to tell us all about Forks and Corks.
Well, it's going to be an amazing weekend. As you know, there's still some great things that you can participate in. But today, you guys get the lucky chance to taste the best 2 wines from the competition. Wow. We had over 350 wines that'll be poured this weekend, and we had a group of 16 judges that got together, spent a day, all professionals, and picked the best white and the best red of the whole competition. So you've got that, and we're going to do a little tasting with it. Okay. The wine that won the white is Nyers Vineyards, and Bruce Nyers has been a friend of mine for over 3 decades. Fabulous winemaker, also a wine importer, used to be at Joseph Phelps. But his Chardonnay, and I think it's interesting, is non-oaked. So it's done in stainless steel, and it's called the 304 because 304 is the highest grade of stainless steel. But I want you to taste it. I want you to smell it, and remember our rule is that you're not smelling it unless the bridge of your nose touches the top of the glass. Taste it, and then we've got a wonderful tuna dish that Chef Jamil at Michael's on East made for us today. So now I want you to take a bite of that tuna and then go back and taste the white and see if you notice a difference. That's the whole key, is that the wines really aren't meant to just serve at a cocktail party. They're all made to go with food. So we talk about wine and food matching, and this is a great
And it's so hard to know how to do it, which is why this event is so special, I think, because the chefs are able to pick the perfect foods to go with the wine.
And we've got 40 some odd restaurants at the grand tasting on Sunday. Of course, the originals are 60 restaurants from the tip of Anna Maria Island to Venice Pass that all participate, and we all work together, all locally owned independent.
And it's totally different with food.
These are
so you
both
notice
delicious.
a difference, don't you?
Tell us a little bit about the dish, the yellowtail.
This is a great tuna dish that Jamil does. That's dusted with coffee. It's coffee dusted, and you've got a very kind of light, a couple of light dressings and a little bit of citrus to go with that. But it's all about showcasing the great fresh tuna.
And it's funny because I don't know if it was the citrus or the tuna that really gets picked up by the wine and kind of intensified on the back end.
It's not a heavy oaky white either, so it's well balanced for a delicate dish like that.
Now, how do purchasing the wines work throughout the weekend? Are they available at tastings?
They're going to be available at the retail tastings, but everybody that's going to the grand tasting on Sunday will have an opportunity to buy these wines. They'll be able to buy these grand tasting or these great winners along with 350 other wines. So there's a retail tent. It's one of the few events, in the whole Southeast where you can go taste and then buy, throw it in the back of your car and take it home.
How special that that's right here.
It's the best.
It's the best.
What's my favorite event of the year?
So let's try the red. And this is from another great friend, Anthony Bell from Bell Wine Cellars. He was the winemaker at Beaulieu Vineyards, which is a very famous Napa Valley for many years. And this is his incredible 2015. Now, if you use your noses on this, you're really going to notice an incredible bouquet. I mean, it really jumps out of the glass. And then on this, I want you to go and take a sip, then go back and taste a little bit of this paella. Now, this is from Finn's at Sharky's. And Chef Mark Alton and the Pachota family, they're incredible. They've done such a beautiful job, and they're a great supporting member of the Sarasota Manatee Originals. And, of course, they'll be involved all this weekend. Their wine dinner is full already, I hear. So, but definitely enjoy this. Take a bite.
Very good.
Of the chicken. Maybe a little bite of that sausage.
Little spice.
And see how that spice.
This is a nice trick too, because I never know what to serve with what. I know, they'll white with fish and red with meat, but this is so much more interesting.
A lot of times, if it's a young red and it's got that tannic or that dry feeling to it, when you eat the protein with it, it'll dissolve that. That will disappear, and you won't really notice that. So, it's important to remember that these wines aren't made just to drink on their own. They're meant to go with food, and you can play with it. It's
an art. It really is. The pairing is an art.
It does change it, and of course they change as they're open for a little while too. But I think these are 2 great examples of what Napa Valley in California is doing at its best right now.
Wonderful, and this entire weekend is such a great example of the Suncoast wine and dine scene, having the wonderful vintners here, having the quality wines here, and of course paired with our local chefs. It's an amazing weekend. You'll want to get involved. Go to the retail stores, sign up for the wine dinners. You can find all the information by going to eatlikealocal.com. And of course, this is the winemaker event of 2018. We're so lucky we didn't have to get on a plane and fly away to a foreign country.
We're bringing them here for you.
It's right here, and we're going to enjoy every minute of it. All right,
Cheers,
Tracy,
everyone.
cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you, Michael.
See you this
Glover,
weekend.
Thank you as well.
Cheers.
Looking forward to the weekend. Everybody take some time and enjoy the Suncoast view.